Hello to all the comic fans, Marvel geeks, and all the nerds in between. Welcome to another episode of Vigilante Vibes, where we talk all things Marvel along with other fandoms, but without the toxicity that's taken up way too much space in each and every fandom. I'm your host, Megan Nicole, and we're here to have another episode of Elevating the Nerdy Voices of the Rainbow, where we lift up the voices of the LGBTQ plus communities. And today, representing the trans community, I have the beautiful Harper joining me. Hi, Harper.
Hi, how are you?
So good. I'm so glad you're here. We've chatted a bit online before this. Like, I've always thought you were just the nicest. So, of course, you had to come on.
Oh, of course. And this was extremely important to me because genuinely, this is something that I've wanted to do for myself. I've wanted to spread a TikTok on a video on my TikTok, my bad, spreading the awareness of trans rights and trans youth rights. But my anxiety usually gets to me. I get anxious. I allow myself to procrastinate. And I just figured that being able to talk to you would be the perfect opportunity to allow me to force myself to get out of that shell and get over it and actually use my voice and spread the awareness.
I get it. I get nervous every time I post a video, everything, because the internet is scary. Like,
It
and
really is.
you can't unread something, and you can
Hmm.
be as tough as nails. I could take it pretty well, but still, like, people are so mean for no reason.
They really are. Like not too long ago, there was this trans person getting attacked in her comment section, and I stood up for her and I was like, I don't know, I think she's really pretty. And the person responded to me and straight up called me the F word. I was like, oh, okay. And then took the time out of his day to stalk my account on Facebook and comment under my posts.
Weird. Oh, I had
Yeah.
someone yesterday who, in my Facebook group, the Nerd Haven, who was just going after another member. And I was like, I wasn't rude or anything. I was just like, you need to calm down, take it down some notches, or leave the group. I don't care. And he's like, I wasn't talking to you, you old mom. And I was like, oh my
That's
God.
rude.
I know. I was like, so unprompted.
Wow. And why would they call you old? You don't even look old. You look like you would at the least, well, at the latest, be 26.
Oh my God, that's so nice of you. I don't know.
Like, that's honest.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
Of course.
People on the internet, they know exactly what hurts, and that's what they do.
Hmm.
They see if you're trans, they know, I know what's going to hurt them. They're
Hmm.
going to attack you. And even if you block them, you do all you want, they still want to hurt you. They'll find you on another site. They'll use another profile. It's so crazy. The internet is such a toxic place.
If not that, I'm also in a trans support group on Facebook,
Uh-huh.
and there are people on the other side of the fence that will take the time out of their day to take somebody's Facebook profile link and share it in groups to spread hate and to have other people just bombard them and bash them and spread all this hate.
That's
Like
a
I see
thing?
screenshots. Yes, it is an actual thing. Like I see screenshots of it all the time. Like, am I okay to bring up Ida?
Yeah.
Ida's in that group as well. That's actually how I met her,
Mhm.
and she could probably confirm that statement.
For those who don't know Ida Lynn, she will be on another episode of Elevating Nerdy Voices of the Rainbow. And she is a moderator for my Facebook group, The Nerd Haven, which I'm going to keep naming until you join it.
You should join it, by the way, if you haven't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's a pretty cool place, but whatever.
Oh, it's a really good place, and on top of that, extremely safe, no
Yes.
toxicity, like you've already stated with your podcast. It's an amazing place.
No, that makes me so happy to hear because that's the goal. That's the goal of the podcast, the group, all of it. Because I'm a straight woman, from birth a woman. I have so much privilege. I understand that. I get it. I have never been beaten down for who I love. I've never been beaten down for being a woman. I mean, like, okay, well, not from like homosexual, not no, homophobic
I get
people.
what you mean.
Yeah, but like, I've never experienced that. But I see it all the damn time, and I don't see anyone sticking up for for any of these communities. And I don't understand that either, because it's like, why would you be
Hmm.
okay with seeing someone get clowned, get bashed? It makes no sense to me.
Exactly. And then like my biggest thing on why like I keep pushing no matter what, like with advocating my beliefs on this situation, it's not a belief system at this point. It's just the truth. Like trans people should have rights, and it's as simple as that. And the way that I see it is, if all the communities in America's history just stopped protesting for their rights because someone came up to them and said, "Hey, we don't want you to have these rights, but some people are okay with you." Do you really think America would be the same way that it is today? Because I honestly don't think it would be. I don't think that if MLK stopped, if women stopped, if the LGBT has stopped in the past, we would not be where we are at today. And that's why it is so important to me that I keep pushing no matter what people say to me, no matter how they feel about me. And I have to try my best to control my anger. Sometimes I have a little bit of an issue with that. I might get a little snippy. Like not too long ago, I was actually having a conversation with somebody about our opinions on gun control, and somebody else wanted to join in, and they just instantly started being rude. So I started making sly, snarky remarks, and then they just kept getting worse and worse. And then he at some point decided to say that he has a big smile on his face, and he wanted to get on me because I was using he pronouns for him, obviously just trying to be ignorant. And instead of really like controlling myself, I told him, if you really want to, go ahead and keep that smile on your face, because I'm more than positive nothing else is. He did not like that.
That's awesome. My God, it's just, it's so sad what these communities go through. In 2025, it's crazy. And it's just, it's not even just your communities, it's racism too. It's so
It
much.
really is.
Like,
Because
we've
like you can
gone
go on
backwards.
TikTok. Exactly. Like if you go on TikTok, you'll see videos of people legitimately filming themselves just going down the street, and people just telling them to go back to their country when they were born here, and just being so ignorantly rude, and so much like is going on. It's just scary. Especially right now, since like I've heard RFK, I'm not sure if you've heard about this, but RFK is trying to make it to where there is a ban on antipsychotics right now, and then also on antidepressants. And from what somebody stated to me, and from what I also looked up, I guess he's trying to set up a camp for these people to wean them off of their meds. Yeah. And
America's
I'm
going
just,
great. America's doing
it really is. And
so great.
I'm just saying, I'm on an antipsychotic for severe bipolar disorder,
Hmm.
so that worries me. But I'm really hoping Big Pharma just does not allow that to happen.
It's like, I've been on antidepressants. I had to be on them when I was pregnant. Were you gonna put me in a camp? Like, what is going on? What is
I
going
have
on in
no
the world?
idea.
I'm stressed, and none of these things affect me, but I'm stressed, so I can't imagine how you feel.
Oh, it's extremely scary. But the biggest reason why I did want to talk with you, like I said, was because of trans rights. So,
Hmm.
would it be okay if I gave you a little bit of like backstory on me and why I really thought I would be a good idea to be put on the show?
I would love that.
So the reason why I thought it would be a good idea for me to share my story and to be put on the show is because I wasn't always like this. I wasn't really raised in a safe environment, I would have to say. I don't necessarily want to get super into detail,
Of
but
course.
like me and my stepfather, we didn't really get along. There were a lot of altercations. I ended up having a lot of, arguments with both him and my mother, and it just wasn't really the best place growing up. And I grew up being this pick me kid that didn't really have, at the time, his own personality. So when I was a boy, I wasn't really me. I was this person that wanted to be chosen. I wanted to be friends with everybody, so I just made myself out of the personalities that I was around. So I usually hung out with extremely conservative, homophobic people. So that's who I was, even though I didn't necessarily understand myself to the full extent, as you can tell. And it took me a long time to really understand myself, because when I was younger, I was that kid, even though I was extremely hateful. I was wearing my mother's clothes secretly when she wasn't home. I was putting on her makeup. Um, I was fantasizing about being a girl, so on and so forth. And then during COVID around 2019, that's when one of my friends, his name is Noah, and he came out as non-binary. And when he did that, that's when I sort of had my turnaround and when I sort of had that realization of like, shit, I'm probably going to lose one of my closest friends if I keep allowing myself to be this way. So I made the decision to get better with that type of stuff. I wasn't homophobic. I wasn't transphobic. Later on down the road, Noah came out as trans. He came out as a man. And I started doing more research, and when I looked into gender dysphoria, what it was to be trans, I realized, shit, I was doing this stuff as a kid. That was sort of the point where it clicked. And from that moment on, it was a constant thought and a constant battle. So after I lost my job at like a fast food restaurant, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to disclose
It doesn't
names.
matter. They're not watching
Okay,
this.
good point. But it was McDonald's. I lost my job at McDonald's and I ended up moving to a factory job. They're called tech manufacturing. It was a really good job for me. And at the time, I just didn't understand myself. I was a very angry person. So, like, I was doing better, but I still identified as a man. So I wasn't taking any estrogen. I was confused on what was going on with myself. I was hating myself. I hated the way I looked. And that was a constant battle that I've always had growing up. And I just remember like coming home from work and just laying in my bed trying to think of ways to transition without worrying how my family's going to feel. I remember like constantly just laying in bed, bawling my eyes out because I was too scared to transition. And at this time, I want to say 19? No, 18 maybe? Yeah, 18 going on 19. And it was just really, really hard for me because like I didn't know what to do. I remember one of my thoughts was I would try to label it as a science slash social experiment just so that way I could see how it would make me feel, see if there would be any changes in my mood, and if I felt more positive about myself, I would keep going. And that's what I wanted to tell my family, but I ended up not doing it up until 2023 on July 3rd. At that time, I ended up getting kicked out of my dad's house. Me and him had a little bit of an altercation and some stuff happened. I'm not going to get into that much. I was homeless for 4 months in couch hopping while I was staying at one of my places for a short term amount of time. I ended up getting my shipment of HRT meds sent to that location. I started taking them from there on out, and since then, I have been 10 times more happier. I've been more confident, and on top of that, I don't hate myself, and that's what's most important to me. And that's the reason why I'm advocating it, just like trans rights so much, because like if I knew and understood and felt more accepted with myself, I would have done this a while ago. I would have allowed myself to be myself rather than this person that I hated so much and just been happy. There was actually a period for 2 years, I want to say, where I was like really heavy going into raves and like watching EDM, lasers, all that stuff. And it was really fun. But during that time, I wasn't doing the best things for a little bit there. I was doing acid, Molly, taking mushrooms. I didn't really like taking hallucinogens publicly though, just because like it was a lot of anxiety. I don't like dealing with other people, so when I'm tripping, it like in a social environment, I feel like I'm constantly worrying about like what is going around me. And there's a lot of people around me, and that's not a good thing to be worried about. So I remember the last time that I've done acid was right before my dad kicked me out. I secretly got some, went upstairs in my room, and I did it by myself. And I was just chilling upstairs, listening to Kid Cudi, laying on my bed looking at my ceiling like, who do I want to be? And I was just questioning who I wanted and what the pros and cons would be, because when I was taking these hallucinogens, I felt more free to be myself. I felt more confident because like whatever is in that drug, it breaks down that barrier for me when I'm in a comfortable space. So it was more or less my way of self discovery, I guess, after a little bit of socially using it. And I would have to say I've come a long way and I'm extremely proud of myself. The reason why I advocate for trans youth rights so much is because honestly, I understand that to some people, your normal might not be other people's normal, but you have to realize that these are things that actually happen in the world. And just because you're not trans or you're not part of the LGBT doesn't mean that your child won't end up possibly being part of the LGBT or trans or anything along the lines of that. And having them grow up misunderstood is never okay, because if they're growing up misunderstood, they're not gonna like themselves. They're not gonna like anything going around, well, anything that's, going around them. Like, it's all just gonna be negative because they're not gonna know what to do. I didn't know what to do, and I wish I did know what to do because I feel like I would have been happier. Um, Another way that I can tell that I've come a long way is there was actually a time when I was trying to use self-discovery before like taking these hallucinogens and stuff like that. Um, I actually did try finding out my sexuality. So I tried hooking up with a trans girl before taking HRT, and when we started kissing, I was so uncomfortable with myself that I ended up gagging and I just kept apologizing. I ran out of their house. I was bawling my eyes out. Like the only thoughts in my head were, I was told this wasn't right. I was told this wasn't right. I have to stop. This isn't okay. And I just left. I did apologize later on down the road to this person because it was very wrong of me to do. And it's something I still feel terrible for. But I'm happy that I'm at least taking the steps to be the person that I am, you know? And if I chose not to be who I am today, I don't think I would honestly be here. And the reason why I say that is because if I got kicked out of my dad's house and got an apartment and I was living on my own and I was as alone as I was back in 2023, I probably would have already taken my life. And I say that because back in 2023 in November, I actually had a moment where I didn't have anybody. My family wasn't coming over. I didn't have friends coming over. I was alone. I just had me and my two cats. And I was just crying and crying, and I didn't have anybody. It got to a point that video games weren't fun. I didn't like watching TV. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted company. I had moments where I was inviting my parents over, like, hey, I want to show you my apartment. I want to make you dinner. I want to show you that I'm changed and I'm a better person. And my mom was always like, yeah, we'll make plans. And when we made plans, we would go along with it up until that day. And then about an hour before she was supposed to come over, she would cancel on me every time. So I remember I had to take a day off back in November. I had people coming over to my apartment, maintenance, and I ended up falling asleep after they left. I got a call from one of my coworkers saying that I got fired, and I couldn't get a hold of anybody above my coworker. Um, So I went into a panic. I was having a mental breakdown. I lost control. I started cutting my arm up. I cut my wrist up really bad. I called the suicide hotline, but talking to them, everything just felt numb. It didn't feel like they cared. It just felt like they were there for a paycheck. So I ended up hanging up. I had such a bad mental breakdown that I was punching stuff, and I obviously regret this terribly. I hit my head on the wall a couple times, and that's when I just realized like I need help. So I did what I needed to do. I called outpatient care, and I got that help, and that's when I got on my anti psychotics and my anxiety meds, and that's where I learned new coping mechanisms, and that's where I've just learned to be a better person and to control myself. And if it wasn't for those people, I probably wouldn't be here. And it's as simple as this. It's a blessing that I'm here. I'm not religious or anything, but if there is a higher power, it's a blessing that I'm still here, that I'm this happy, even though so much is going on, and it's just amazing to me.
But I'm so proud of you. That's so much to go through for one person. And look where you're at now. You're able to speak out for others and make sure that the next person doesn't have to go through that.
And the biggest reason why I wanted to get as much of my story out as possible and just be so open and honest with you is because my message is just to everybody. Like, if you are feeling this way, don't be scared to explore yourself, discover yourself, and find yourself, because you have every right to love yourself as much as anybody else does, no matter who you are, no matter what you identify as. You are you, and be true to yourself. And when it's up to the people that don't identify this way, please make sure to be there for them. Whether it's your family, your friends, it does not matter. Check in, make days to hang out with them, make sure that they are loved and they know that they're loved and cherished, because there was a moment where I felt like I wasn't, and it was scary. It was really dark, and it was hard to find a light, and I fear for so many other people, and they don't deserve to feel that way.
And it's just, that could be your child going through these feelings. Child could bring home a friend who has these feelings. There's so
Exactly.
much there's so much that there's still to learn, but I think what needs to be taught is how to support someone, and at the very least teach how to be tolerant of this. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, we can't just have people going around saying the things they're saying in today's society and expect to go anywhere in life for any of the people around us.
Exactly. And like my biggest thing is people don't realize like I'm not as soft as what they would expect. I know I look like I might be a very soft person, but I like to fight fire with fire. And if someone's freely gonna call me the F slur, I'll message them and I might call them that back because I know it's gonna upset them, and they'll message back, "Oh, why are you calling me that?" And I'm just sitting there like, "Oh, you don't like it? I didn't like it either. So why is it okay for you to call me that, but I can't call you that?" It's as simple as that. If you don't want to be called that, don't call me that. Because I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be ignorant. I'm not trying to be hurtful when I say it. But I'm trying to show you it's as simple as this. It's not respectful. And if you don't like it, I obviously don't like it. So why are you saying it?
And also, you don't know who's listening. You,
Exactly.
you could be hurting the person you're closest to. So, everything you've said is, I think, if it changes the life of one person, it is so worth it. It's worth sharing your
Exactly.
story. It's worth giving someone some perspective, because there's probably so many people who feel this way. And don't
Hmm.
know what to do because there aren't resources, there aren't people supporting them unless they have felt this way too. So it's very scarce out there for them.
Exactly. And I understand like so many people are scared because like it's their family and they don't want to go against their family because they don't know how they're going to react. Or if they already have had bad interactions with certain family members, they know that it's probably going to go poorly. They probably know that they're not going to respect them the same. And it's a very scary thought because that was genuinely my biggest concern. And as I was trying to say before the phone call and all that stuff happened, like I was that kid that was scared. And when I opened up to my mom about my transition, well, she was just like, this better not be real. She didn't want it to be real. She told me straight up on the phone that, she was going to need therapy because of it. And it was something that just genuinely really hurt. And our relationship just hasn't really been the same since. And it's something that bugs me. But, uh, there's nothing I can really do about it. I'm just here to do me, be me,
Yeah.
and be the best person I can be.
Honestly, your job in life is to live your life how it's supposed to be
Hmm.
and to help others live their lives the same way. Someone who is struggling, I hope if they're listening to this, they do reach out to someone they care about. They do find that support somewhere. But it's
Exactly.
also understandable because a lot of families don't support that. I think what you're doing, making noise, being an advocate, I think that's what you're supposed to do in life. Once you get through and these hurdles, like look at where you are now as opposed to 2 or 3 years ago. I'm
Hmm.
really proud of you and I'm really happy you're proud of yourself.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for this opportunity because I've really wanted to actually like join and be part of the podcast after I heard that Ida was going to be part of it.
Hmm.
And after you messaged me, like you genuinely became my biggest inspiration to use my voice because before that I was too anxious to. I didn't use my voice up until now, and it feels good. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you're always invited back anytime. And
Thank you so much.
for anyone listening, if you want to join this series I'm doing that is all about giving a platform to the LGBTQ plus community, just message me. I suck at messaging back. I will get back to you in 2 to 3 business days, but it will happen. I just suck at it, okay? But that's why I did this. Like, I want people to feel this way. I want people to have a platform because you guys, your platform is being taken away little by little every single day. And that's not fair. And it doesn't affect me whatsoever, but it could affect my daughters. It could affect their friends when they get older. It could affect someone who has feelings that are as close to me that hasn't verbally said them. When all of these changes, all of these things people are going through, people who identify as something different, who are out of the norm to what your life is, it's not about you or your feelings. You feel some kind of way because your best friend from third grade said that he's actually a she. That doesn't affect you. That's none of your business. That affects them. And the only people who get hurt by your trashy attitude is that person and every person that has to listen to it. So if the world
Exactly.
stop being selfish just a little bit every day, try not to be selfish and keep your trash ass opinions to yourself, we would all be much happier.
And you would make a lot of people in your lives happier if you just educated yourself a little bit. And I don't mean that in a rude way. So if
But but
anybody hears me
but
say that,
like but you need to educate yourself a little bit because and that's
yes,
we're not
yes,
saying you're dumb. We're not saying you're stupid. We're saying this is something you don't know about. So learn.
exactly.
Ev-
Exactly. And it's something I didn't know about. It's something I was bashing because that's what I was grown up, like, I grew up around. Like, and I realized like what I did was wrong. It's not too late for you to just correct your mistakes. Read a little bit on the internet, find a .org, .gov website with factual information about transgenderism and the LGBT gender dysphoria. It is something that you can learn, and you don't have to be affected by it to advocate for it. So please stand up for your friends. Please stand up for your family. Please stand up for the people around you because it is affecting somebody.
And at the very least, if you are incapable of standing up for someone who is just as human as you are, who should have the same rights as you, then just shut the fuck up. Just keep your trashy comments to yourself. We don't want to hear them. No one wants to hear them. You're just showing that you are someone that cannot be depended on and you are unsafe.
That is true. Thank you
Well,
again for this opportunity. Did you want to ask me any questions? I know I talked for a while.
I had questions ready, but you answered every single one of them, and which has never happened on this show. That was pretty amazing. I just kind of sat there like, well, dang, okay, you go. But
Well, I'm happy I was prepared then.
well, thank you so much for doing this.
Of course.
You're the exact reason I'm doing this, and I hope other creators lend their voices too and lend their platform to help the people that need the most support right now.
Exactly. And I'm just saying, it doesn't matter what the person is dressed as. If they go by he, him, please use he, him. If they use she, her, use she, her. And please make sure to use they, them. Because it doesn't matter. They can look as femme as I do, but they could still talk deep like this. It doesn't fucking matter. Like,
We've
respect people, bro.
we've been talking about this for so long and so in depth, and like in my head and my eyes, I'm like, she's a woman. She's a woman. That's all she is. She's. And then you hit me with that
Exactly.
voice, and I was like, oh shit.
Well, you see, fun little fact, growing up, I actually loved, like, mimicking cartoon voices.
Hmm.
So, like, one of my favorite shows still to this day, just because I love how much they just don't care, is honestly South Park. And my favorite character is Towley. So, like, I learned how to do a really good Tally impression, and I just really like Tally. And then I can do Patrick Star too.
What the hell is going on right now?
Oh, have you ever Critical Role? I believe it is with the what's the clown's name?
I don't know. I don't like clowns. So if there's a clown, I don't like. Mm-mm. No, no,
Okay,
no.
I forgot the clown's name, but I can do the clown voice too.
You don't gotta do that. You don't have to.
Oh, are you sure? It's really good.
I'm sure it is so beautiful. I'm sure it's just like it's amazing. But you don't gotta do all that. It's fine. I can.
Okay.
You can't give all the goods away for free, you know.
I wouldn't say for free. Well, goods. My bad. Not for free. Messed that up a
I was
little
like in
bit,
my head, I
but
was like, she just focused on the exact wrong. That's okay. That's okay. Well,
yeah, that's true.
thank you so
But
much for
thank you
coming
again for
on.
having me.
Of
Oh, of
course.
course.
So
I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. I think we're both just so tired. It's like the end of the day, and we just had such a deep talk that now it's like, oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Now my emotions don't really know how to like collaborate. So like, I'm gonna go find something to get pissed off about, or I don't know. The world is my oyster.
Exactly. And you make a well. I forgot what I was gonna say. The train
See?
derailed in the middle of the sentence.
Oh my goodness. So you're welcome back anytime. You're amazing, and I think you do. I think you make more of a difference than you think you do.
Thank you so much. And before we go, can I actually ask you one question?
Yeah.
Marvel or DC?
Marvel. There.
That's fair. That's
That.
fair. What about for the animated universe?
Oh, DC has always been better, but my
That's how
head
I
says
feel too.
DC, but my heart says Marvel because like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, X-Men 97, all of the 90s shows, that's what got me into and all of this. So like,
That's fair.
yeah.
For me, it was honestly Iron Man. Like, I grew up starting with Iron Man and then went from there. But growing up, I was always a really big Batman and Wolverine fan. So,
Fair.
like, I have all the Batman Arkham games. I tried out the Suicide Squad game and I really enjoyed it. And I was keeping it on my console until the first season, and then they made it to where you had to level up in the battle pass to get the like new character, and I was like, I'm okay, I don't want that. I just wanted to play as the new character right off the start. So like I ended up deleting it, but not a bad game if you want to play it for the campaign.
Well, we've learned so much lore about Harper today. I
Yes.
like I learned so much. I'm so excited about that. So, we are at the end of the episode. Thank you for listening to the new and improved Vigilante Vibes. Wherever you're listening to this episode, click that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of my amazing guests like Harper or any future episode. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a marvelous night.